welcome to Royal Daily Report, your ultimate source for exclusive royal investigations and breaking news that others won't cover. I'm your host, and tonight we bring you one of the most shocking revelations in royal history. A single email sent by Prince Harry years ago may have just exposed the entire foundation of his marriage to Meghan Markle. What we've uncovered will change everything you thought you knew about their relationship. This is an investigation you absolutely cannot miss. Stay with us. Asterisk, for years, the world believed Prince Harry would defend Meghan Markle no matter what. He gave up his home, his titles, and even his family just to stand beside her. But now, something has changed. Inside the royal circle, there's a quiet storm building. One caused not by Meghan, but by Harry himself. Because in a move that shocked even people closest to the palace, Harry recently made a choice that blindsided Meghan and exposed cracks in their marriage that can no longer be hidden. Harry reveals it all started years ago with one email, one sentence, one slip of truth that revealed the entire illusion they built their marriage on. And once you see what that sentence really meant, the whole story looks different. This isn't just a marriage with cracks. This is a marriage built on a fault line, and the shaking has finally begun. Make sure to subscribe to Royal Daily Report right now and smash that like button for this bombshell investigation. Now, let's go back to where the cracks first appeared. It was February 2018. The world didn't know it yet, but inside the palace, something strange was happening. Prince Harry had sent an email, a formal official one, that later became legal evidence in court. Most people saw the email as routine, simple, protective, nothing unusual. But buried in the lines was one sentence that changed everything. Harry wrote, "I can't begin to tell you what it will say about the institution if this isn't resolved before the baby's arrival and wedding." At first glance, it seems harmless, responsible even. But the people who read that email closely felt something tighten inside their chests because there was one very big problem. In February 2018, there was no baby, no announcement, no bump, no rumors, nothing. So why was Harry writing about the baby's arrival months before the wedding when no pregnancy had ever been confirmed? There were only two explanations. One, Harry was imagining a future baby, speaking in hope. Or two, Harry believed a baby was already on the way right then. And from the tone of his email, the urgency, the frustration, the almost panic styling, it didn't read like hope. It read like a man trying to clean up a crisis before the world found out. That single line tucked inside that single email became the spark. The tiny slip that revealed a much bigger truth, a truth Harry never meant to expose. Because if Meghan told Harry she was expecting, then everything that happened next suddenly makes sense. Once that email landed in the palace inboxes, confusion spread quietly through the halls. Meghan had allegedly told Harry she was expecting, and Harry, emotional, protective, overwhelmed, believed her completely. And why wouldn't he? He was in love, deeply, blindly, fiercely. But inside the royal staff, something didn't add up. There were no medical confirmations, no appointments, no doctor reports, only Harry's urgent voice repeating the same phrase. "It needs to be settled before the baby arrives." That line echoed through late-night calls, planning meetings, quiet whispers, and offices. It was as if the entire palace had been shoved onto a clock they never agreed to follow. And in the middle of it all, Harry grew more desperate. He wasn't acting like a prince. He was acting like a man racing time. A man who believed everything could fall apart if the world discovered the truth too early. Every decision became urgent. Every conversation became tense. Every delay sent Harry spiraling. And behind the scenes, the unspoken question grew louder. If Meghan was pregnant, why couldn't anyone else confirm it? Yet Harry wasn't willing to slow down long enough to ask questions. He trusted what he'd been told. He trusted the woman he loved, and that trust was about to change the entire course of his life. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Royal Daily Report to stay updated on this explosive story. The speed of Harry and Meghan's engagement shocked even royal veterans. They'd known each other for barely a year when Harry insisted the wedding must happen. Not next year, not later, but as soon as possible. Royal marriages usually move like glaciers, slow, careful, traditional. Background checks, family approvals, plans that take years. But Harry pushed everything into a 6-month sprint, a record-breaking rush. Staff were confused. Senior aides whispered behind closed doors. Even the Queen, calm and measured as always, asked for clarification more than once. And always the same pressure point came up. It needs to be done before the baby arrives. That phrase became the engine of the wedding. The reason decisions were made at lightning speed. The reason protocol was bent. The reason the palace scrambled. Meghan appeared calm, polished, glowing. Harry appeared tense, emotional, frantic. Behind the perfect photos and smiling interviews, another picture was forming. A prince racing toward a wedding he felt he had no choice but to complete. A wedding built not on time or tradition, but on urgency, on fear, on a secret no one could confirm. But Harry desperately believed. And this moment, this rush, became the foundation of everything that would go wrong later. Because if the baby that pushed Harry toward the altar never existed, then the love story he thought he was protecting might never have existed either. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report now and hit that like button to support our groundbreaking investigations. By March 2018, something strange happened inside the palace. The whispers stopped. The urgency that once pushed every royal schedule into chaos suddenly faded away. Meetings that were once frantic became quiet again. Staff who were running full speed just weeks earlier now stood confused, wondering why the baby emergency they'd been told to prepare for was no longer being mentioned at all. It was as if the entire crisis had evaporated overnight. According to quiet murmurs inside royal circles, Meghan had told Harry she'd lost the baby, a personal heartbreak the public never heard about. But others noticed the timelines didn't match, not even close. If Meghan truly had been expecting in late 2017, the due date should have been somewhere around mid-2018. Yet, no hints, no announcements. No physical signs ever appeared at the wedding in May. Then something even more confusing happened. Harry didn't act like a man grieving a loss. He acted like a man relieved that the storm had passed. The pressure he'd put on everyone else seemed to lift, but the reason behind it remained wrapped in silence. Staff took note, the Queen took note, and those who had been closest to the situation began to quietly ask themselves the same question. Was there ever a baby at all? Because when Archie was born in May 2019, almost 2 years after the alleged early pregnancy, the math simply didn't line up, not even a little. There was no possible way that the 2017 pregnancy and Archie were connected. This is the moment the palace realized something vital. The urgency that once controlled Harry might not have been rooted in reality, but in belief. And belief, especially when tied to love and fear, can be the strongest form of control of all. Make sure you're subscribed to Royal Daily Report and have smashed that like button for more shocking revelations. If the disappearing pregnancy created questions, Meghan's behavior created even more. People inside the palace started noticing a pattern, a strategy almost, in how she moved through different situations. She had 3 distinct ways of handling any moment, like switching masks, depending on what she needed most. Mask 1, the victim. When she wanted sympathy, she knew how to soften her voice, widen her eyes, and present herself as overwhelmed, misunderstood, or mistreated. This earned her Harry's protectiveness instantly. She knew that he had always carried emotional wounds, especially from the loss of his mother. Any sign of someone being hurt pulled him in like a magnet. Mask 2, the partner. When she wanted loyalty, she stepped into warmth and connection. She acted like she and Harry were a team against the world. Every decision became ours. Every disagreement with the palace became them versus us. And Harry, already feeling distant from the institution, naturally followed her lead. Mask 3, the star. When she wanted power, she turned on her shine. The confidence, the charm, the presence, the way she captured cameras and conversations. This wasn't just confidence, it was strategy. It helped her carve a space inside the royal narrative that no newcomer had ever managed to carve. And Harry, he shifted depending on which mask she wore. When she cried, he defended. When she bonded, he followed. When she glowed, he dimmed. People around him noticed the change. A prince who once felt grounded was now reacting emotionally to every shift in Meghan's tone. She had found the combination that unlocked his choices, and she used it with precision. Every time palace staff questioned something, every time protocol pushed back, every time someone hesitated, Meghan's timing was perfect. Emotion became her strategy. Love became her leverage. And Harry became the soldier, fighting a war he didn't fully understand. The trap wasn't metal or chains. It was feeling. Pure, powerful emotion that wrapped around him quietly until he couldn't tell the difference between love and pressure. Hit that subscribe button and like this video right now to stay informed with Royal Daily Report. By the time May 2018 arrived, the machine couldn't be stopped. Whether the early pregnancy story had vanished or not, the wedding was happening. The Queen had approved it. The chapel was booked. The global cameras were ready, but inside the palace walls, no one forgot what had led them here. They remembered Harry's panic. They remembered the rush. They remembered the impossible timeline that forced their hands. They also remembered something else. The baby that had once been the center of every decision no longer existed in any conversation. And when Meghan walked down the aisle, flawless, collected, radiant, many inside the royal circle felt a quiet chill rather than joy because they realized something Harry didn't. He wasn't walking into a fairy tale. He was walking into a marriage built on urgency, not certainty. While the world saw horses, flowers, tiaras, and smiling crowds, palace insiders saw a very different picture. A prince who had been steered, a timeline that made no sense, a crisis that had evaporated the moment the wedding was secured. To them, it was a wedding of strategy, a wedding of momentum, a wedding that could not be stopped once the emotional pressure had pushed it into motion. And the saddest part, Harry thought he had won. He believed he had protected his new family. He believed he had made the right choice. He didn't know, not yet, that the moment he said, "I do," the urgency disappeared because its purpose had been fulfilled. The trap had quietly closed, and the cost of that one rushed moment would follow him for years. Don't miss any updates. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report and like this video right now. When Harry and Meghan left the palace, the world thought they were running toward freedom. Sunshine, mountains, a mansion worth more than most royal estates. It looked like a dream, the perfect place to start fresh. Harry even told friends he finally felt free. But freedom, when it doesn't come with purpose, can quietly turn into another kind of trap. In Montecito, everything felt different. The palace rules were gone, but so were the routines, the responsibilities, and the structure Harry grew up with. He didn't realize how much those invisible lines had held him up until suddenly they weren't there. At first, California life seemed exciting. New business deals, new projects, new headlines. But slowly, something in Harry began to dim. People close to the Sussex circle described him as withdrawn, irritable, restless, like a man who took off running and then realized he had nowhere left to go. Meghan thrived in their new world. Cameras, interviews, production meetings, branding opportunities. She glowed under the spotlight. Harry, on the other hand, struggled. He wasn't the prince anymore. He wasn't the hero. He wasn't the rebel changing the system. He felt like an accessory, a supporting character in a life that was supposed to be his own. And in the large, high-walled Montecito mansion, walls taller than most castles, the silence inside their home grew louder than the freedom outside. Subscribe to Royal Daily Report now and smash that like button for more exclusive royal investigations. Everything comes back to that one sentence, one email, one moment Harry didn't realize would shape the rest of his life. Before the baby's arrival and the wedding, it wasn't a warning. It wasn't a reminder. It was a prophecy, one that revealed the truth long before Harry understood it himself. In that line, written years ago, was everything. The urgency, the fear, the manipulation, the reason he felt trapped, the reason he left his family, the reason he's now a man living without a crown, without a role, without the peace he once hoped love would give him. And the saddest part, Harry wasn't tricked by lies alone. He was tricked by hope. The hope that love could fix everything broken inside him. The hope that Meghan could be the one person who finally chose him for him. But sometimes the real tragedy isn't being fooled by someone else. It's realizing you fooled yourself. Now the cameras still flash. Meghan still smiles. The brand stays polished and glowing. But Harry, he walks beside her quietly, no longer a prince with a story of his own, but a man replaying the moment that changed everything. That email wasn't just evidence. It was the truth he couldn't see then and can't escape now. Cracks in a marriage don't start with a scandal. They start with a sentence, and Harry's sentence has been echoing for years. The fairy tale is over, the illusion is cracking, and the world is watching to see what Harry does when he finally stops pretending. Asterisk, this has been Royal Daily Report, bringing you the most explosive royal investigation of the decade. Thank you for watching this exclusive report that reveals the shocking truth behind Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's marriage. If you found this story eye-opening, please hit that like button right now and subscribe to our channel for more breaking royal news and exclusive investigations that the mainstream media refuses to cover. Share this video with everyone who needs to know what's really happening behind palace walls. Make sure to turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we post new bombshell updates on this developing story. We'll continue following Harry's journey as more revelations emerge. Until next time, stay informed, stay connected with Royal Daily Report. Remember, we bring you the truth that changes everything.